lanes, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Welcome back, guys. We are here with the Never Ever Mets, and oh my goodness, this is going to be a very interesting ride. What do you guys think of this premiere episode? JR, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm all good.
You're all good. What did you think of this premiere?
I think it started off on a very tumultuous path. I wonder what the rest of the episodes have in store. This one had a little bit of everything. And when I say everything, I don't just mean, the good stuff. I mean, had a lot of toxic behaviors too. So, yeah.
Yeah, we did see that. You're right. Some toxic behaviors, especially at the end, and even through one of the particular dates, which is actually the couple that we saw, at least that I saw at the end, that was just like, okay, toxic. Yeah.
What, the fake yoga?
Yeah, the fake yoga. Yeah, we can go ahead and say that the fake yoga, and the fact that he kept pushing her face down and her bottom was up, like R's up, as they say.
I've done yoga before, and man, I've never seen that particular pose.
That was not downward dog or
nah, that's not downward dog. That's not downward dog, child's pose, snake, cobra stretch. That's none of that.
Nope.
That was blatantly a move to just put her in that position. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. And guy, how you guys doing? What's the weather like? My last earlier today when we did Married at First Sight, it's still only 50 degrees here. What's the weather like there where you are in the UK?
It's freezing cold. I'll probably say it's closer to 35 degrees. Your temps.
Oh, like that. Wait a minute, you said 30, so almost like freezing, close to freezing, basically.
It's cold. Yeah, like winter. It feels like winter's coming back.
Yeah. That's what Kimberly, my other co-host, that's what she was saying. Last guys, if you haven't checked that out, too, go ahead and check out our Married at First Sight Denver reunion video. Yeah, that's what Kimberly was saying. Like, and she's down south in the Carolinas, and she was saying it's basically like 50 some odd degrees, even though a couple of days ago it was in the 80s. Yeah. Go figure this weather. Go figure it out, guys. What's it doing where you are? Hey, baby doll. How you doing? Colton, Monique King. How you guys doing? Come on in and drop some hearts or say something, okay? Don't be all hiding in them bushes. We know some of y'all folks hiding in them bushes, but the rest of y'all can come out and say something. And I've got like one more. Guys, give me 1 second as I put this together. I don't know who this. Did you notice? What did you think about this? That there's actually two Aarons in this show. There's two guys named Aaron. Did you catch that?
Yeah, didn't make anything of it though. I mean, it's quite a popular name, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, but the thing what happens is with that the thing that happens with that, unfortunately, is that then you get like confused when you're talking about the two Aarons. You get confused because like, which Aaron are you talking about? That's the only thing with that. That's the only thing.
You have to put that Aaron 1 and Aaron 2. But we know we had the same thing with Will and William, right? We had to just make an abbreviation or.
But if you ever notice you're right. But if you ever notice with that, I was very precise and specific to call William the tall one, William, and the short one, Will. That for me was very important, like to call one William and one Will, because I never, maybe once or twice I might have mixed it up toward the end, like when Will short one was dismissed and removed from competition, then it kind of didn't matter so much, but yeah, that was how I, for me, that was how I differentiated between the two. But I see what you're
Mhm.
saying. I see what you're saying. Well, let's go ahead and get started, guys, because we're gonna get better with this as we go. We're gonna have more stuff for you next week, and we're gonna have our guest host will be in this week. They had some work obligations, and we're not. Sean was not able to make it, so unfortunately, we don't have Sean. But we'll have Sean. We'll have Kimberly. Oh, there's some more people popping in. Hey there. Hey Valentine. Hey girl. Monty. Hey there. I appreciate you guys. Go ahead and click that like button too. Smash that like button. And
They're saying I sound muffled a bit.
mm,
Mm,
oh, JR. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Hold
Oh,
on, let me
okay.
tweak my audio a little bit.
Okay, yeah, tweak it a little bit. I'm thinking about getting some new headsets myself.
Uh,
And then we'll get started. Well, guys, what did you think? Okay, like this episode, while he's doing that, guys, in the chat, do me a favor, give it a grade. Like, what grade would you give this episode this week? What grade would you give the premiere episode of the Never Ever Mets? Would you give it an A? Would you give it a B? Would you give it a C? Talk to me. Talk to me. Colton, what you think? What you think? What grade would you give it? What
hey, am I
grade would you?
sounding any better? Is that is
Oh,
that still
Lord have
muffled?
mercy. You sound okay to me in the first place.
Okay.
Kiki, give us your opinion of how he's sounding. I know he was saying he had some technical. Oh, Dorica is a tough. She's a tough lady to please. She says a F. Oh my goodness, Dorica, I got a question for you. If you took away that incident, because you may be like me or other people also that felt this way, if you took away the incident at the end of the episode, would you still give it an F, or would you give it like a C minus? Yeah. Okay. And Kiki says, yeah, F for fights on first episode. Yeah. And see, that's what I was going to say. I figured a lot of you were kind of looking at that. If you didn't have that last scene, though, if you didn't have that last scene, because I would give it a C. I would give it a C or a C minus. Valentine saying D, simply due to, yeah, right. But guys, take that away. Take that, if you remove that from the episode, everything else, all things being fair and square, would you give it a C or something like that? Let me see. Baby Dow, what's Baby Dow saying?
Yo, you're trying to convince them, Aubrey, but
I
no.
no,
Uh,
I'm
there's
just
so many
okay. You go
there's
ahead.
so
You go.
many incidents that
Mhm.
led up to that particular scene at the end, you know. And I think
Okay.
all the couples displayed some type of, you know, obviously it's a very unconventional and unorthodox um, relationship that they have, but yeah, there were quite a few things that would have definitely made me downgrade the show. I would personally give it more like an EF as well, and that's without the fight scene.
Oh, you saying that? Oh, good Lord, have mercy. Get off my get off the stage. Okay, all right. Dorica says, okay, yep, she's like you. Okay, so you know what? We got two different camps here, because already I've seen two people give it A's, and that's Baby Dow. Baby Dow, my girl, Baby Dow. See me over at Instagram, okay? Baby Dow for your gift card, okay? You got Monique. Monique is with Baby Doll. Okay, so that's three of us on the same team. Dorica's still saying the F, so she's on your side.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
Valentine.
managed to
At least I.
convince a
At
few of
least
us
we got.
already.
Listen, at least we got Valentine in the middle. She's saying a C without the incident. I like you, Valentine. See me
Yeah,
over.
but you had to
See
coach
me
them.
over on Instagram. What you say? What'd you
You
say?
had to do some coaching to get those grades.
Well, you should know about the coaching. You're a whole trainer. You have to get people emotionally invested. You have to hype people up to get them motivated to lose the weight that they already know they want to lose. So hey, work with me here. Work with me.
Yeah, but you have to also tell it like it is and be firm and fair. And
Oh, okay. He says be firm and fair. Derica, she says, oh, now Derica, I'm not gonna lie. You got a point right there. We've been saying that. All of us commentators, everybody I've talked to that's on YouTube that I know, that title, the title alone. Derica says the title alone is an F. What do you think? Do you like the title, JR? The Never
nah, I
Ever
think it could have
Met.
been better. I think they could have come up with something better, but
Yeah, yeah. Title could have been better. Derek, I got to give that one to you. I got to give that one to you. You got a point there. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I got a couple of banners. Is how we're going to work it for right now. We're going to do some things different starting next week. Keep me in your thoughts and prayers, guys. Keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Okay, so let's start with Taronda. What did you think about Taronda? Who's the Taronda Jones, who's the host of the show? Now, JR, I don't know, being in the UK, I don't know if you recognize her or not, but those of us on the American side, we recognize her as being like a tertiary, a secondary character on the show Empire. If you recall that show Empire with Taraji P Henson and Terrence Howard.
okay. It did air on one of these channels like Netflix or one of those type of things, but I never watched it.
Hmm. Okay, okay, yeah, that was a show. It was on for a good. It had a good little long run. It was on what was that, guys? Fox Network, and it was about the rap industry. Like the Taraji and Terrence Howard were married. Cookie Lion. They were the Lion family, and they had this whole record company, this label that was built on rap music. So yeah, so that's where we know her from. She was actually Cookie's assistant, and she was quite funny. I didn't recognize her at first because a few years have passed, but she's also happens to be a musical artist and a rap artist as well herself in real life. So, what did you
Okay.
guys think? What did you guys think about? Let me get this comment off of here. What did you guys think of her as the host? Were you guys excited to see her? I think she may be a good host for this show, which for me, um, JR, I think this show is kind of like a clash of a mixture of the show Catfish, if you've watched that on MTV, and kind of the own network show called Fiance or Family. I think this is what this show is kind of like for me right now. What do you think?
I think it's more like a mix between Catfish and Love and Hip Hop.
Ooh, okay, I can see that. I can see that. I think you may even give it a better description than I did. See, I didn't never really watch that show. I don't really watch. I watched it only maybe if I've seen maybe 15 episodes of Love and Hip Hop. That's like 14 too many. So yeah, but you're probably right though. You're probably right. Is this where OWN is headed? Because if you watch, from even us doing Ready to Love, is this where all the OWN network seems to be headed toward Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah, quite possibly. You look at this show, well, you look at the feedback that a lot of viewers have had for Ready to Love and how they kind of miss how the format started and there was more intentional connections or more genuine people going on the show to form relationships or find
Hmm.
relationships. Whereas I want to say maybe for the last 5 seasons or so, it's gradually become more contentious. Like there's a lot more talking points away from the actual connection, and the success rate is still low. So if you look at how the first episode of this show went down, you can easily come to the conclusion that it might be the way that OWN's actually trying to do things. for ratings. Like you said before, the emotional investment. Some people may find something triggering. It gives people cannon fodder to go and commentate, blog, like we are, do reviews, things like that, talking points. And that's, if they can't find a successful show that promotes and generates lots of matches, then the next best thing is to probably have controversy. So,
Mm, okay. Okay. I think I see what you're saying. That's a good point. That's a good point. What do you think about the tagline? Will their virtual connections survive reality? And how many people, if you guys are out there in the chat or you're watching us on the replay, how many of you guys have actually dated and had like a virtual connection and then met the person in real life? Put a thumbs up in the chat if you've done online dating. You've met virtually through Facebook, Instagram, or any of those social medias. Put a thumbs up in the chat for me, please. Um, what do you think for yourself? I know. I guess I have to put a thumbs up in the chat myself. I've done that. I've met virtually and then met in real life.
mhm. Well, I definitely did that in my previous relationship. Slash.
Ah,
So
okay.
yeah, in my own personal situation, I have experience of it.
Okay, okay. So we do have some people that have had experience with it. I think a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people, only when I think about a friend of mine, it was funny when I was doing the a live on this channel maybe about a year ago, and we were talking about he's a police officer. He's a retired law enforcement officer of many decades, and I was asking him about the safe way to date, and we were talking about online dating, and he was like, "Well, why are people doing that?" So this is a guy, I'm going to say, I think he's probably in his late 60s. He's like, why are people doing that? It's kind of hard to explain to somebody that maybe is from a generation where everybody met at church or at work or in college. It's kind of hard to explain why some people might want to do online dating. What do you guys say? What's the reason why to do online dating?
Well, for me personally, it wasn't something that I saw coming or I planned. I just saw the lady that I was attracted to, and I don't know. I just got like an inclination to just reach out and make contact and see, you know, how she was or whatever. And man, I quickly became very enamored with her. So after speaking to her online for uh, some months, um, yeah, I took the plunge and decided to go and visit, meet her in person. I was pleasantly surprised. Like by then we had built up a great chemistry. So my only hesitation was venturing into the unknown, something that I'd never done before. But yeah, it was a really great experience um, to have met someone in that way, and then to form the connection that I had with her, because we're very different. We're from very different cultures and very different backgrounds. But yeah, it ended up being my longest relationship.
Okay, okay. I see some people responding. I see some people responding, and I've got questions for our chat. Dorica says, "I think that online dating gives desperate." What, girl? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Why Valentine says, "Yeah, I did it," and she says, "Unfortunately, this is the point. Unfortunately, people can embellish as if you'll never meet." And she says, "Never again." So I guess that kind of leads into what Dorica is saying. sometimes people can embellish, but that's true. I think that's very true. And I think that's why a lot of people are leery about uh, online dating. Also, they can hide who they are. But to be fair, if you stop and think about it the old fashioned way, the regular way, some people have always lied and embellished in real life. So, what do you think about that? People can lie and embellish in real life.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just they're
oh,
embellishing and lying about different things. I think with the online dating, a lot of people are more so worried about the physicality of the person.
well, I think it depend on which forum or format you met the person on. That plays a huge factor in whether you're planning to actually meet the person. For some of these people, it probably just started off as, some of the couples on the show even just said they met on social media and they were just flirting and commenting and all these other different things. So at the time, there probably wasn't that intention to meet.
Hmm.
But yeah, there is there can be embellishment because you haven't met the person physically. But like you rightly said, that's been going on since before social media. A lot of people who you might interact with in real life, like actually have a chance of meeting, they'll tell you all types of crap just to get you in bed or just to meet you and spend time with you. So,
Well,
but I think online, obviously, there's a greater chance that you're not going to meet the person. So there's probably a higher chance of embarrassment.
right. El Cid has a good point, and El Cid is the one who said she actually met her husband online. I think that is actually awesome. I know a lot of people that have met their spouses online. So I don't know, you can be against it for it. Whatever works for you, that's fine. But it is the way probably 50-40% of people are meeting their mates, their current some of them their current spouses. I think finding a spouse, let's say this, in this country, in modern dating, I think finding a spouse of in any way or format is difficult. Marriage, and particularly in certain communities, and I'm going to say particularly in the Black community, there's a whole book called Marriage is for White People, those of you that may or may not be familiar. And that was came from an article that was written by I want to say a sociologist, educator, who basically was front faced with students, that basically told them, when talking discussing about marriage, uh, a middle schooler said to the teacher, but marriage is for white people. So if you think about that, marriage is something to find someone that you're going to actually marry and supposedly be with for the rest of your life. That's a difficult thing, whether you're doing it online, whether you're in the grocery store and you're meeting a guy in your grocery store, your neighborhood store. That's a tough thing to do. So
Hmm.
it takes a lot of savvy. It takes a lot of relationship skills. It takes a commitment to want to be with someone for a long period of time. And that's something we're not seeing in modern dating. I think nowadays, when you talk to somebody, they've dated someone for 3 to 6 months. That for some people, that's like long term, like 3 to 6 months.
Hmm. And some people haven't had relationships at all. They just had situationships and all of that. But
Exactly. Look at Married at First Sight. You got a whole 30,
exactly,
31-year-old woman on there talking about she's never had one single relationship, but yet, like, she's had a lot of hot and heavy time, but no relationship. So
exactly.
yeah, okay.
The other thing, is like there'll be mail order brides and you know things like that going on for ages, and it's usually is white men or white people that engage in that with European women and Filipino brides and all this other stuff, right? So
Mm.
it has been going on for ages, but I think the growth in online dating is down to many things, and sometimes it's to do with the disappointment that you've had in in your relationships that you've actually had up to that point. So you just want to try something different. For some people, like me at the time, it happened out of the blue. I just fell in love with the person that I met and got to know and all of that stuff. And in some instances, I think it's a lack of confidence. Um, you don't really have the I won't say the courage, but you don't really have an interest in going out and mingling and dating, putting yourself out there on the market, because you may feel inadequate, or it may just be, um, too competitive for you. I think
Mm,
online dating allows you to, especially if you have a long list of requirements and specifications that you're looking for in a partner,
okay.
you can specify what you want and you can come up with a match. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why dating apps and all these
Like
other
a
things are so
filter.
popular.
Like you can
Right.
kind of filter your some of your preferences
Exactly.
better
So,
than, yeah, okay, that makes
so
sense.
I've never used a dating app at all, and I wouldn't, but I know people that do,
You
and
sounded
they're
like
able.
Dorica over there. You sounded like Dorica. Dorica is talking about not using any kind of apps or anything. But
Yeah, I'd never do that.
listen to this. But wait a minute. But listen to this though. To be fair, she gives a reason, a very valid reason. Dorica says, "I'd just rather meet someone organically." Is her reason. I feel like when you resort to online dating, it's because no one is approaching you. But what I said to Dorica is in the chat, I feel like this. It's not sometimes that no one is approaching you, Dorica, just to what JR just said. Sometimes the people approaching you do not fit the preferences that you may have. So you may be getting guys that are approaching you, and you may be getting all kind of offers to go on days, to dinner, to lunch, to brunch, to even if it's just a coffee date to get to know one another better. But if it's not what you're seeking, then that's why I feel like in this modern era of dating, people are using apps. They are using, just like back in the olden days, and people still do use matchmakers because they're looking for a specific type of person, a particular type of mate, right? So I think that's a whole thing too. But good point though, Darica. I do like that, and you do have a point. That how meeting people organically, because I think that there is something to that. There's something very different to that. And the thing that you don't have to prove or disprove when you meet organically is that you already know the person's physicality, how they look, their aesthetics. And also, what you may find out by meeting someone organically is whether or not you even have chemistry or not. Because someone can look good and you still not have physical, sexual attraction or chemistry with them, right?
Yeah, that can happen. When you meet someone physically, also you get to see the nuances like facial expressions, you get touch, you get all these other things. When on date online, you largely have to go without the physical aspects, the physical touch, not just the sexual, but just the physical interaction, the hugs, the holding hands, the PDA, public displays of affection, like all of those types of things. You kind of forego that in order to pursue your online relationship until you eventually do meet. So, but at the same time, on the other side, on the flip side, because there is no sexual attraction, there is no physical. You that's out the window. So now you're getting to know each other's personality and get to talk to each other, know how each other thinks and things like that. And you're not having the lines blurred by having a sexual or intimate relationship. So
Mm. By
it
meeting,
kind of
you say by meeting online, you
yeah,
kind of can get
exactly.
to know that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a very good point. I like that.
yeah.
I like that.
Especially if you have a 90-day rule, or I don't want to be objectified, I don't want to have sex before a certain amount of time. Yeah, then
And you
dating
say that
online,
with some kind of attitude almost. What's going on, JR?
yeah, because it's usually the attitude that comes with it. But yeah, but yeah, like if that's something you're fearful of, then dating online eradicates all of that. You don't have to worry
Mm.
about whether he's gonna try and make a move on you. You
But is
know,
it dating online or is it? I guess we can call it because you know what, everybody's definition is going to be different, and that's what we're seeing with this show. Is that these people, some of them are talking about on the show that they were dating. Some of the women are saying we are actually in a monogamous relationship, and at the same time, we see the guy over in the other corner telling the other guys, "Hey, I wasn't in a relationship. I've been dating and having hot and heavy time with whomever I want to have the hot and heavy time with." So, but here's a question. Here's a question as we move down the list of questions and thoughts. What is the longest period of time for those of you who've dated online or even does anybody remember back in the day when you used to get a wrong number and you would actually ask the person to meet in person because the guy sounded so good or you sounded so cute to him? But what is the longest period of time that you've ever waited to meet with somebody that you were having these phone conversations, this FaceTiming with? Um, what is the longest time that you guys have ever met? Because we see on this show, some couples have waited 3 months to 6 months to 9 months to even 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 12 years. You got one couple. You got Shay and what is that? Shay, is it Shay and Josh? Wait a minute, hold on. I got this in my notes here. Shay and yeah, Shay and Josh. Shay and Josh have they went 12 years. Now remember they weren't in the same state. They weren't in the same state. They
But
lived quite a ways apart from one another, but 12 years I think that's a little bit too long.
uh, listen, they're in the same country and
Yeah,
they're not a
same
million miles
country.
apart.
Okay,
So
so if they were in a different country, how long should it take if somebody was in a
I
different
wouldn't
country?
even say there's a time limit, but 12 years
Okay.
living in the same country,
Okay. They don't even need a
that's
passport to see each other, right?
yeah, exactly. You don't need a passport. You don't need anything really, right? Um, I think it's quite easy for you guys to travel across different states um, by plane or drive, do a road trip or whatever, or meet somewhere halfway. So um, yeah, that's a long time. And the other couple that basically are from, where did they say they're from, Los Angeles or somewhere? They're both in the same state, and they still haven't met after what, 3 or 4 months or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That was wild. Like,
they just said that they live over the hill from each other, and they haven't made time to meet in person. So
were they just
different
waiting
strokes
for
for different folks. I don't think there's a blanket time limit
right?
or
Were they
distance.
just waiting for this show to happen? Like, what was going on?
Yeah. Or they just thought it was just gonna stay an online friendship or whatever and not develop into anything else. Because listening to what they both said, it was like that they live close enough to have made it happen if they wanted to. They live in the same state. But
Okay.
yeah, so for me, it's like they must have just got too comfortable with the online thing and just said, yeah, we don't need to meet.
Yeah, I think, and then I think you got to go back and do the math on it too. Let's consider this though. So, were you aware that Shay is now 30, right? So let's do the math.
Mhm.
Minus 12 puts her at 18.
Mhm.
So now I'm going to give her this, that between the ages of, let's say, 18 to even 22, she's working maybe a minimum wage job, maybe he's working a minimum wage job because he's about the same age, that they weren't able to get together because of maybe finances and some other things going on. Perhaps she was in college or school, a trade school, maybe he was in school. We do know that he has a 13-year-old child, so that means that sounds like he had a child right during before he met her or right after he met her, or right before he
Mhm.
met her. So I'm
But
assuming he's also paying child support, so that's kind of eating up his coins. But
Mm.
after 22, when they've gotten this training, they went to college, they've gotten their education, they've gone to cosmetology school, anesthetician, tech, or whatever the thing is. Then I'm wondering after those 2, 3 years, 4 years, I'm wondering why haven't they met? Um, was somebody incarcerated? Could it be possibly that he was
Could be,
incarcerated? Maybe it's a
could be,
love after lockup situation.
maybe, and that may also play a role in why they haven't met. Because if he has been incarcerated, he won't be in trouble. He may have been under house restrictions, things like that, or ordered to report somewhere every week or something like that. Didn't have the freedom to travel. Who knows? But yeah, like, isn't he around the same age as her though?
Yeah, no, that's what I said. Yeah, he's the same age. I
So
think he
it's
may be
like,
1 year
yeah, so
older.
they both could have been like 18, 19
Right,
doing this
right.
thing,
They're
and
teenagers. They could have been staying at home with they could let's look at it this way too. Another thing, they could have been at home with parents, that says, "Hey, I don't want you going across halfway across the country to meet some strange guy." Because our parents, a lot of people, the generation before them, they're not into this virtual dating, so they're going to be a little leery. Like, what? No, he could be a serial killer. That's what her parents
yeah,
are probably
yeah,
telling
tell me
her.
about it. Oh, trust me, it's crazy.
Yeah. So,
But then again,
how?
you don't know if you meet the person in face to face, but how they are either. They could equally be as crazy.
Yeah, could be. That's true. Wait a minute. Let's see what else Sis got something. She's sending a message to you. Okay. Those times I was doing, ooh, back in the day. Oh, okay. Back in the day. Something you said that triggered, she was kind of like, a Miss
Mm.
Hottie, I think, back in the day. I heard that girl. Ooh, ooh, ooh. She was a Miss Hottie. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going back a ways. I'm a little behind in my comments. Um, she said, "Yeah, you did a wrong number." I did too. I did too, and it turned out, the voice was definitely greater than the person in person. Okay, the voice was voicing, but in person, not so much. Okay. And she responds. El Cid responded to someone in the chat that it took her a week to get together. Now, El Cid, here's the question: was your person in the same state or same area, or were they across the country? Okay. But let's move on to our next one. We're going to continue to get going here with these comments or this. What did you think, Jr. Briefly? What did you think of the women, all 7 women, being in a barrack style bedroom on
Yeah.
the show?
Yeah. For
I was like,
I think
woo.
that's the recipe for disaster. I think if there's any, you already had one of the ladies say, what, she doesn't like being around women. She doesn't want to sleep in the same room as all of
Yeah,
them
that
because
was
she feels
Diamond.
like,
That was Diamond
yeah,
with the
feels like
older
they're going to
lady.
be catty or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I anticipate there's going to be many squabbles and fights going down because they're all in the same room. I thought they would at least have their own space,
Yeah.
similar to like a retreat on the RTL.
Yeah, or at least maybe two to a room. Two to a room, 2 or 3 to a room would have worked for me. But yeah, I don't want to be in a room with, and I don't have a problem. Like I don't know if I agree with what she said about women. Um, that's to me a lovely stereotype, or not, and I'm being facetious, not so lovely that women are a certain way. It's just like saying men are a certain way. That's a very bad, poor generalization and stereotype. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to be in a room with a whole bunch of different personalities, a whole bunch of different noise. I'm very noise aversion. um, I'd rather be in a room with just one other personality, or maybe two at the most. That's just me. What would you think as a guy? Would you want to be in a barrack style room with 6 other guys?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's fair. I don't think that's like it has to be a gender thing like she was saying, but I just didn't think
Yeah,
it was a
I ain't
good
sharing my
idea.
room with no one. I'm having my room by myself. And if they put me in a room like that with 7 other dudes, I'm probably going to sleep in the car
Mm.
or on the sofa in the living room.
Hmm. Okay, now on to the actual characters on this show. Alexis is Dominique is the one that's from Chicago. He's got the tats all up his neck. Alexis is the one who appears to have had a little bit of BBL going on there, right? She thinks that Dominique and her have been exclusive for the 6 months that they've been virtually connecting. Uh, do you think that's realistic? What are your thoughts, guys, in the chat? And over to you, Mr. VIP. Do you think that he's been exclusive with her for the 6 months?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I can't trust anything at the moment. It's still too early. Um, uh, hmm. I can lean on the side of maybe yes, uh, but I don't know. No idea. I really can't call it.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's just say this, the little clips we saw of him talking to her when he was telling her, like, they were having a FaceTime, and he was telling her, has she been working on her twerking skills?
Yeah.
For me, it sounds like this guy is all about sex. He's all about sex. He's not really considerate of her, and she's living for on her side, it sounds to me like she's living in a delusional paradise, like a fantasy world. Like, she's saying that this guy is safe on the one hand to the women when all the women were sitting at the table and Diamond was asking questions. So Diamond seems to be the leader. Diamond is for lack of a better word, Diamond is the, I won't say the Claire for this season's Married at First Sight, but last season, what was the girl's name with the shoulders that was married to Chris? You guys remember the girl's name that was always leading all the discussion, and she was really nosy. But that's what Diamond is giving. But anyway, this girl Alexis, she seems to be very delusional because she thinks this guy is safe. Like, my question to her is, what about him is giving safe when he's busy telling you that you need to be able to twerk and your behind must be yay big and it must be this big old bubble butt BBL type of situation? What about him is giving safe? Because everything about him is giving scary, and it's reminding me of somebody that I actually know, which is also very scary, right?
Well, I don't know because I think they've had enough time for them to have conversations and all of that stuff, right? And uh, I don't think she's particularly timid herself. Um, I think in this particular couple, the toxicity may be what's actually attracted them to each other. Uh,
Ooh.
Now, I don't equate her twerking necessarily with it being sexual. I think the yoga thing was kind of gave that away. Like and the other thing is, he said he wasn't even impressed with her physical when he did see her. He was like
Yes.
the pictures that
Yes.
she posted were either edited or filters or whatever, and enhanced
Mm-hmm.
certain areas. So when he first met her, it just wasn't hitting at all. And so for him to say it wasn't hitting, that
Mm-hmm.
meant to me that he was quite disappointed that the physical didn't match what she'd been showing him the whole time. Um,
Exactly.
but again, we have to be realistic. If you've gone without the physical side of the relationship, then maybe there's a chance that when you do finally meet the person face to face, then those feelings that have been repressed for a while are going to come to the forefront.
Wait a minute. Say that again. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
I said the feelings that have been repressed about wanting, you've been talking up. Yeah, when we see each other, we're gonna do this, and man, I can just imagine how soft your skin feels, and all this other stuff that they've been probably talking for the duration of their experience together. When they get to meet each other, then it's gonna come to a head. Like, you're gonna see the person, you're finally gonna be able to touch them, kiss them, hold them, all that stuff. So the repressed sexual aspect while you weren't in each other's presence is going to probably bubble up to the surface now that you're in each other's company after so much time of waiting for it to happen.
Well, okay, I can get that. Like, so it's a balance. Like for me, I think it's a balance. I get what you're saying, and you're a man. I get that the tension is strong. I do get that, but like you said, the thing that's kind of very telling for me as a woman is we know that men can have a lot of men, various men, not all men, but different men can have physical relations with a woman and not think anything of it. So that's to me what is given. And I have to agree with why Valentine, whose comment I put up on the screen, she says, I don't like Dom at all, feel the same way. He's seeking low vibrational, he's disrespectful, and he's ill mannered. Because for him to say she didn't look like he thought she would look, the filters and this and that. And he says basically it's something he says in his confessional. He says, well, I'll give it a shot and see how it goes. That's code word in my mind for I'm going to see if I can smash, because this definitely ain't the person I'm going to be in a relationship with. That's what is given to me. So that's
Mm-hmm.
all I'm getting out of it. Like, and then, like you pointed out, he's doing during the date, because we're on the date now. The date and their chemistry. He's pushing her face down, behind up. He's behind her. He's basically straddling her, mounting her, and giving like, dry humping vibes. What's that all about? What's that really all about? You could do that back at home. You could do that. I don't know if he's got to pay for it necessarily or not back at home in Illinois and Chicago, but you can do that with anybody. Why would you have build this foundation, this connection with this person for what is it, 6 months, and then come on just so that you could do that? Like his date. And then here's the other thing. All of the other men on this week's episode, all of the other men, if you notice, they said, I asked her, this is going to be her dream date. She's always told me she wanted this picnic. She's always told me she wanted this helicopter ride. She loves being on the water. Did we at any point in time hear her say when she got to this date that this is what she dreamt of her whole life?
No. Did she say anything about what she didn't give any description of what her ideal romantic date would be. But
Right.
no,
But he's been talking to her for 6 months though. This is the point I'm making. He's been
yeah,
talking to
and
her.
she never, yeah, but as far as we know, she never expressed what her ideal date would be after 6 months.
You don't think
So
you don't think it
some of the guys
Mhm,
were more thoughtful and said,
mhm.
you know what, you even had a guy who's never even opened a bottle of wine before. He didn't even know how to use the bottle opener. And the lady that he's sitting across the table with is like, right, we could have just done something that we both mutually had in common. But you've just done all of this to try and impress me, and it's not hitting, it's not working. You don't even know what you're doing. Right? So I think this dude basically, where's he from? Chicago?
Yeah, yeah. And Elsie's
Right.
giving us some more information. She's saying, it was Sid. I'm assuming you're talking about Dominique. Says that he went viral on a video. That's how they got started talking. Okay.
Yeah. So again, like not everyone you meet is going to be a gentleman,
Mm.
and he
Everybody I
doesn't.
meet gonna have
Yeah,
to be a
some
gentleman and
women
give me
like their
a day in
guys
my life.
rough and rugged. Some ladies like their guys rough and rugged and
We're
don't
gonna
want
get to
that
that. We're
gentleman
gonna get
stuff.
to that. We're gonna get to that in a minute. And,
Yeah,
and it
some don't
doesn't.
want that. So
Yeah, it
um,
doesn't seem like she really doing too well with that rough and rugged though. When we get
nah,
to
she's commenting on other guys' hoochie daddy shorts and things like that after waiting so
hmm
long of meeting the guy. So, you know,
she
she's
got her
taking it to
issues.
that.
I agree with you. She
She's
got her
taking it.
issues. Hmm.
No, she's taking it to another level as well. Like, you know, um, because after waiting so long of meeting the dude that you've been talking to, the thing that sent him over the edge is
Hmm.
now you're commenting on another guy's shorts, how short they are, repeatedly in front of his face.
Okay, let me stop
So
you right there because I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you because I'm a woman and I could see portions of where that would be where what he was talking about. Do you feel like what she did was disrespectful, and how so?
Um, I think it was disrespectful in the context of, well, obviously he's disrespectful, and we're gonna get to him as well. But I think I can see where he felt disrespected because you waited so long to see each other. This is the first night or first day you spent with each other, and she's already commenting to the dude about his hoochie daddy shorts. It wasn't just one comment, by the way; it was multiple in front of his face. So I think this
Mm,
Dom guy has jealousy and insecurity issues as well as a
okay.
hot temper. So that doing that in front of him, that's not a good idea to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've been talking for 6 months, you should already know that that's not the type of thing that he would appreciate. Um, and then for him, like I said, he's insecure, he's jealous. And I think, yes, I can see where you would say him and his yoga advances were creepy. It's similar to like what they used to do back in the day when the guy used to pretend to yawn and put his arm around you and
Mm-hmm.
sneakily try and go for a grab or a kiss or a feel or something. But he took it to another level with the yoga.
Yeah, I was just
I don't know
about to
what type of
say
yoga that he's
levels.
done, but
There's levels.
that's not. He didn't even do it gracefully. It was just so blatant that it was not even an attempt to mask what he was trying to do. Um, and to be honest, if she wasn't feeling it, that could have been grounds right there and then to say, "Listen, I'm not interested in taking it to that stage right now. You've overstepped the boundary. You don't need to get physical with me yet. We just met for the first time." But she didn't do that. She was keying about it.
You
So
know, the other
if you
thing that
don't shut
comes.
it down, and it gives someone like him probably you know, a red flag doesn't necessarily turn into a green flag. So if you'd said that is a red flag or is a boundary, told him don't touch me like that or I don't appreciate it, then that could have shut that down.
You know what she's starting to sound like? Alexis is starting to remind me when I was very young, my dad once told me this, and it took me to grow up and see this in real life in action right in front of my face. My dad told me one time, he said, there are some women that they don't think a man loves them unless he's laying hands on them. And I was like, "What, Dad? What are you talking about?" That, it didn't even make any sense to me because I knew what laying hands meant, what we would call DV, right?
Mm-hmm.
DV. So, like, I'm thinking that doesn't make any sense. I'm a little girl. I'm maybe about 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. And that didn't make any sense to me at the time. Fast forward probably another 20 plus years. I'm in my 30s. I'm getting my hair done. And this woman, the woman that was doing my hair, her live-in boyfriend, like basically she goaded him into trying to get him to hit her. And I was like, oh my God, I see exactly what my father is talking about. Some women are so used to toxic environments. It could be whether they grew up in a home that had DV in it, they saw their mothers getting that type of treatment from their fathers or the men that were in the homes. That's their toxic love language, right? So I'm beginning to get that feeling from Alexis in watching this first episode, because you're right. When El Cid says that here on the screen, she said that Alexis noticed this guy's shorts all day. And she made a point of that while she was rubbing. I will say this too. I did notice that she was rubbing on Dominique as she was saying that. The guy that she was saying it to was very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. I think that was
Yeah.
Josh. He was very
Well,
uncomfortable. You could see it in that whole scene. Like he left out of there, like out of the kitchen, like, yeah, okay. There's no
yeah.
need for you to
But
keep talking about my hoochie daddy shorts.
yeah. Now this is the thing. That's gonna create turbulence, right? Because you're looking at another woman's man.
Say again.
You're looking at another woman's man talking about his hoochie daddy shorts. Right?
Mm-hmm. Oh
You're
yeah,
looking at his
right.
crotch. You're basically looking at his crotch and how high his shorts ride up. Right. So not
Right,
only are
right.
you gonna tick off the guy that you're with if he's bad-tempered, insecure, jealous, and all that. But you're now potentially creating tension with the woman that the hoochie daddy guy is dating, because she could be like, "Why are you watching my man like that?" So what if you're wearing hoochie daddy shorts? You're wearing it for me, not you. You know, that's the type of. And then you're gonna go into the room and spend the night with these ladies, and you're there commenting on someone else's man. So you're not doing yourself no favors. If you want to be a timid flower in this process and be all about your man, be all about your man. But don't blur the lines by commenting another man's what another man's wearing, especially when it's short, because that gives the impression you're scoping this guy out for some reason. You're sizing him up. You know,
Right.
you have no
Right.
reason to interact with that guy whatsoever. That's not who you're here for.
You're not. She wasn't. She wasn't there for him at all. You were right. And then not only I thought about it, not only making the guy uncomfortable, but what if his lady was in the room? Now
That's what
you
I'm saying
make
to you.
her feel like, yeah, that's a very good point. Excellent point. Excellent point. Um, Anything else about this couple, about Alexis and Dominique? But till we're saving the end part for the end. So anything about them up until this point while they're
Yeah, well, like I said, the yoga stuff, like that went no yoga. Um, and like I said, I think he was trying to make a move to see how far he could push the envelope,
mm,
uh, and whether she would shut it down. If she didn't shut it down and she's down with it, then he's going to continue his little innuendos. But at the
mm-hmm.
same time, um, yeah, I'm not liking this couple. I don't
Nah.
see.
The energy. You know what? It's
Yeah,
the
between
energy.
both of them, I'm not
Hmm.
feeling it at all.
Baby Doll has a good point. One last thing, let's talk about very briefly. She says that even though Dom was out of pocket, true enough, he had told Alexis on the date that he's a very jealous type. And I do recall, once again, Alexis was telling Diamond and the other ladies that he has a temper. So she already knows this about him. Alexis already knows this about Dom. But Alexis understood, telling him that she's the same way.
Mhm. She
Ah,
did. She said
okay,
she's
okay.
she's quite a jealous person as well. She
Jealous.
did say that.
Oh, and that may be why. Okay, well, we'll get to it at the end when he tells her what if he were to say that about some of the women, because he was.
Yep,
I did see him checking out some of the women, but at least he had the wherewithal to do it subtly, and he did
and
not
not say it
speak.
too
Right, right.
well.
Yeah, I was
Like
gonna
you
say he
said,
didn't say a mumbling word. You're right. Exactly that part. So
exactly.
I
He
did.
used his eyes like you can look, but don't touch,
Yeah, right. But
and don't
don't
say
touch.
anything.
Hey, don't run your big old mouth. Right,
But
right,
this is
right.
the thing. Everybody in the house could see that the dude was wearing the shorts. There's
Mm-hmm.
only one person that commented on it and made a big deal about it.
Mm-hmm. And that was Alexis. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're gonna move. Thank you. We're gonna move on to Shay. Next couple. Shay claims that she won't go to year 13 without finally meeting her man. So that's the couple we're on now. That's Shay and Josh. Shay was doing good until Shay put on that basically like a bathrobe and went on with slits in it and went on a date to the amusement park. Like, I don't know if she had on underwear. I don't know what was going on. Like, it just reminded me of it started kind of reminding me a little bit of Emily. Like, what are we doing here, Shay? This guy already likes you. You don't have to do all of that. What did you think about Shay and Josh's date?
Again, I've got to say, if you've been going so long without seeing the person that you have feelings for, you know, some people are not prim and proper. They're not going to go there and act all dainty. They're going to go there and try and make up for some lost time, or at least try and establish a physical connection immediately. So, yeah. As for their date and the chemistry, it was okay. It was okay. I mean, I don't particularly have a problem with the way she dressed because that's how she chose to dress, and she knew what she was going there for, which is to meet the guy and go on a date. So it was all intentional, and he seemed very receptive to it as well.
Yeah, he did. He did. He seems to genuinely really like her. So
Hmm.
I'm curious to see. This is one of the couples that I said that I was telling you about. I couldn't think of their name at the time. I actually do like them. I'm just saying. I just thought she had a bathrobe on, but she seems like a nice enough gal. He seems to be into her. She seems to like him. Also, he put some forethought. He was one of the gentlemen that put some thought into the actual date. So I definitely could vibe with that. That here's a man that's a leader, a thinker, a planner. Those are all good things for a guy to be, especially when they're in a relationship. Um, what did you think? Coming to this, did you also notice that Queen Diamond, as I call her Queen Diamond, the lady who is the BBW woman, as she calls herself, right? Big, beautiful woman, and I think she is. She's very pretty. Um, what did you think about her? She seems to be the leader of the women's group. Did you read it that way? Those were my thoughts, but what were your observations on that?
I don't think necessarily the leader, probably the most inquisitive into what's going on in the other relationship.
Okay,
Um,
okay. I can say that. I can agree with you on that.
mm, um, isn't anything wrong with that because it's as we've seen from the earlier questions. Like for some people, it's something that they'll never do. So those who are in it sometimes may feel like they need to find out how other relationships are going or how people met. The nature of the relationship. They may be more inquisitive to try and validate their own experiences that they're having. But as for a leader, I don't know yet because I don't think they've even known each other that long to kind of form an alliance yet, or
Okay.
any type of solidarity. So, but I'll just say she just seemed very curious as to what was going on in some of the other ladies' situations.
Okay. Okay. Very good. You
Sometimes,
right.
sometimes people will try and gather information to try and use it against you at a later date.
Mm. Now that could be that's always a possibility. Um, what did you think about? Let's see here. Got these kind of a little bit jumbled up. What did you think about the Haitian couple? Uh, oh, that didn't go. That didn't. Hold on. That didn't do what it was supposed to do because I didn't hit it as a ticker. Okay. What did you think about the Haitian couple Sandia and Chris's date? He was the one that flew her out on a
Hmm.
helicopter and then had the private little wine and cheese charcuterie board waiting for her. What did you think about that?
Oh dear, like this couple, man. This dude, I have concerns. Now, it was a very thoughtful and romantic gesture to do something as elaborate as a helicopter date, especially on the first time you're meeting her, because then it's definitely going to be etched in the memory, remembering the first time you met and all that stuff. So I give him many points for that, right? If he arranged that by himself. Um,
Hmm.
and he seemed very considerate, asking her if she was enjoying it, if she liked it, all that type of stuff, trying to get feedback. So I thought, at that point, yeah, man, this guy's really into her. But later on in the episode, when we hear him at the table and she's sitting on the other side of the room, and we hear what he's saying about him not being exclusive with her and all this other stuff, I was like, wait a minute, bruh, you already said that you're a flirt. You already said you're in the strip club. and now you're saying you're not exclusive. Nah, that's crazy. So I have concerns about this guy. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
very very big red flags. Um,
But the date.
but the thing is, they both are from Haiti. They have, they seem to have some things in common, and for them to have made it this far, online dating or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
um, there has to be have been some good things to hold them together. But yeah,
Well, what?
to me it seems like this guy's gonna put his foot in it big time.
Okay, and are you getting that observation? Because we're going to talk about that. I was going to ask you. I wanted you to focus on a little bit more on the date and their chemistry during the date. But fast forward when they're at the house and I guess the guys are sitting at the table in the kitchen. You're talking about when he's telling the men that he is not in an
Excuse
exclusive relationship with her. Is that what you're referring to?
Right. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. You do all of this to go on an elaborate date. You take her on a date where she said it was always a goal or ambition or dream of hers to go and fly in a helicopter. You do all of that, which would lead me to think, and probably her as well, and many others, to think that you are in an exclusive relationship and you're trying to give her the time of her life.
Okay. So kind
So
of
that's why.
mixed signals, kind of mixed signals.
Exactly. So
Okay.
then to then go in the house and sit down with all the guys and be like, yeah, well, we ain't exclusive, dude. Yeah, I'm very concerned about this dude. 'Cause she was
Oh,
right there
okay.
too. She was in the room. It wasn't
Yeah.
just a guy conversation at that point because she's present and he knows she's present while he's saying it.
Right. Well, what did you think of this? He told her to get out. He told her to leave.
Exactly. He did.
So,
He did. Yeah, nah, man. Nah, yo, this guy's a problem. Like hit that Dominique guy and this guy. Yeah, they are problematic straight away from first day. I was like, what are you doing? Are you crazy?
guys, do you think he's problematic? What do you guys think? He's awfully cute, and he's Haitian and
Yeah,
she's
you don't give him a
Haitian.
pass because he's
Got
cute.
the same culture, same ethnicity.
Yeah, you can't give him a pass because he's cute. But just because he smiles while he's saying it and he's got dimples. Nah, like he's sending mixed messages.
El Cid said the men were at the men's lounge at the table in the kitchen, like
Playing
ready to
dominoes.
love. The
Mm.
men's lounge.
And I don't get it. I don't get it. Like he's in a situation around the table where all of the guys have been waiting to meet their ladies as well. And, most of them have been in an exclusive relationship. So I don't know why he's trying to be the anomaly and be like, yeah, well, we ain't exclusive. And what are you doing on the show then?
Well,
Like,
now, ladies, let's help him out with this. And Wes, I know if you're still in the room from Stay Tuned Reviews, let's help our UK friend out with this phenomenon that's probably, I don't know if it's a US phenomenon only, but in this country, many men in our community find it more important to impress their homies, the guys, the dudes, the ninjas that they hang around than they do really being about a monogamous relationship.
yeah, but that doesn't make sense. I'll tell you why. Because
I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't. But go ahead. You give a male perspective on why that doesn't make sense. Thank you.
because if he wanted to brag about or, show out in front of his guy friends, obviously he could have just said, well, I took this girl on a helicopter date. What did you guys do? I'm sure that helicopter date I went on with my girl trumps anything you did with any of your girls. That's how guys sit around and brag and do that whole one-upmanship thing. I don't see why he would be talking about how he's not even exclusive with her and all the other stuff. Trying to seem like a player in this type of situation is detrimental to the process, and it means that he's not serious about the lady. So that's why for me he has to go. Like he, if there's an elimination process, him and Dolan need to be up there straight.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I agree with you. I think that it was very wrong. Even Baby Doll says that she was quite upset. Apparently, she said I would have made my presence known. I'd have cussed them out in front of the fellas, packed my bags. I'm out of here. I'm out of
Yep.
here.
And he wouldn't
And
have chased you either. He'd have let you go.
say again.
Just he wouldn't have chased up after her either if she had packed her bags and left.
No,
Like
and
he
if
said,
it,
his
that's
whole point was she's
mhm,
expendable. I've got
she's
other ladies.
she's expendable, but and you're right, because the point, you're right, the very point to that is that even when she was basically being chased out of the room, rather than him drop his ego and go after her and kind of pull her to the side. Because even if he had said, "Hey, you know what? You know how we fellas do it here in the U.S. You know, we all like to talk a lot of smack, but that's not really what it is. I really have feelings. Look at that date that I planned for you. I did all the things that you wanted me to do." Even if
There
he
you
had
go.
pulled her aside and said something like that, but hey, well, let me just hang out with the boys and talk my smack talk to them, right? I could have respected that a little bit more than him not getting up and going after her to say anything. You're right. At that point, it does start to feel like she's expendable. It
Yeah,
does.
and again, this is a guy that spends a lot of time in strip clubs, apparently.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
But
yeah, if
again,
that's
that
his favorite pastime, then
mhm,
yeah, he pretty much has that you're expendable mindset. Because I can go to the strip club and
right.
pick up strippers or put some dollars down someone's G-string, and I'm coming away with them for the night.
Hmm. And
So yeah,
that's part of a man's delusion that he really means something to a woman that's in the strip club, working the strip club. He really feels like he means something to her because you're just a dollar bill or $20 bill to these women in a strip club. You definitely don't mean anything personally to them.
yeah,
But
and some guys are actually cool with that.
yeah,
Guys
well, they
actually know it's
fantasize.
transactional.
Transactional, exactly. That is true. That is true.
They're not
What?
going to the strip club to meet a wife. They're going. Most of them aren't. They may get hypnotized by the lap dance or whatever goes on there, but most of them are going to the strip club just to frolic and enjoy.
Probably. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
enjoy
will
the
say, back in the
titillation.
day, they did have the strip clubs did have the best wings. So I will add that, and some of them that served seafood. But anyway, uh, let's move on to Aaron J and Joanna, their date and their chemistry. Now, here's the couple that let me get these. Uh, hold on, I'm a little behind. I'm a little behind. Let me go back. Let me go back on this. Let me backtrack, guys. I'm gonna backtrack real quick to Sandia, and we'll get these comments up so that it actually makes sense with the same ticker. Okay. You got Chris low key told the men, "I can steal your girl." Oh yeah, is that what he was saying? I mean, he's cute and all, but he definitely don't want to go up against Dominique because Dominique if Dominic keeps the same energy that he had for his girl Alexis, that would definitely. I think Chris is a lot smaller than Dominique. Let me just say that. Uh, Baby Doll says nope. She's answering my responding to my second chance. She's not going to give Chris a second chance. I don't like being embarrassed, and if the man that's supposed to love me embarrass me in front of the other men, we are done. Okay, I ain't mad at you. uh we got Valentine. Why Valentine says as soon as Chris said your girl will move on to the next best man, I knew he had been hurt. Oh, is that I missed that. I missed that. Did you catch that, JR? Did you catch
Yeah,
that
I caught it.
Chris said that? Okay, so he's been
Hmm.
hurt before. That's in Why Valentine.
Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe, or he just views that women as disposable, and not, you know. But again, that defeats the whole object of coming on this show. to meet the person that you've been supposedly holding out for. So the question for Chris is, have you actually been holding out to meet this lady, or have you been frolicking?
Okay. LC, she got a facetious comment. She says she would stay just so she doesn't get fined. LOL. Okay, so now we can go on to that date that I was gonna do next. That's Aaron J and Joanna's date, right? Um their date, he's the guy, uh a little bit reminded me of maybe the LBGQT plus community. I'm sorry, I got them letters all mixed up. But
Alphabet, alphabet
yeah, the
community.
alphabet. Okay, the alphabet slash rainbow community. He is not he's giving the man from Atlanta. Okay, he's giving the man from Atlanta. Let's just say that. Okay.
What makes him give you that impression, Aubrey?
Um. Oh God, sometimes it's hard to put it into words. It's the mannerisms, it's the wrist flopping, it's the pursed lip smile
The two
that some
earrings,
men do.
the two earrings.
The earrings dangling, they're particularly dangly. That's
Couldn't twist the bottle opener. Couldn't.
nah, that one I write that one off because he does explain that he does not drink. So for a person that doesn't drink alcohol, he's never probably opened a wine bottle before. I don't have a problem
Oh
with
my
that.
gosh.
But the whole, even his facial hairs is just giving something queer about it. I'm sorry. He's giving me like them vibes that, like I say, every season you got at least one on the show. Either they haven't come to a full conclusion about who they are, or they know who they are, but for whatever reason they want to play down low, and that could be male or female, because I got my suspicions about Claire over on Married at First Sight Denver. I'm not believing that she really liked dudes like that, but just saying. Okay, but in his case, I'm not thinking that Joanna would be the person that he gonna really be getting down with every night. I'll just say it that way. Okay. Can I say it that way?
Mm, mm, I
But
ain't
he,
gonna take
but
it.
he did plan a beautiful date. Let's just go with this. He did plan a beautiful date outside overlooking the beautiful mountains of California. Um,
Okay.
I thought the date was thoughtful, but like you said, the
Okay.
fact that he didn't know how to open the wine bottle. We've got some comments on that.
Okay. What are your comments about her feedback about the date?
Her
Because
feedback.
she didn't seem to particularly enjoy it. She seemed to want to be doing something else somewhere else.
I'm wondering if she's catching the vibes that I'm catching about him being part of the alphabet community slash rainbow community. Like, because if I saw him in person, I would have picked up on that immediately and I would have had a problem. But what I would not have done, I will say this, because this is where I feel like she falls off. I would not have been rude to him. I would not have been hypercritical like she was of him. What do you think? Do you think she was particularly critical, or what? What do you think?
Uh, I mean, how can I say this nicely? There are many ladies that are hypercritical, but I think this is an example of someone planning a nice romantic date, but it falls flat because the lady would rather not have been doing that on that particular date. She seemed to want to do something more fun, more adventurous, something more where they could both participate in something rather
Okay.
than sitting down at the table watching him
Mm,
struggle to pour some wine or whatever. She was
okay.
even pissed because after opening the bottle, she poured the drinks, you
Ooh.
know. So yeah, she weren't feeling that date. Maybe
Mm,
that's not her type of date. Maybe she's more Maybe she would have preferred something like a helicopter ride, jet ski, boat cruise,
Ah,
stuff
okay.
like that,
A
rather
date
than
on
like a little picnic.
the boat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
That's true. It could have been that. It could have been that she
Yeah,
would
not
have.
everybody wants the romance and let's sit down on the grass somewhere and just talk. Not everybody wants that. But he should have known that because they've been speaking for a while.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have been talking for a while. I absolutely agree. Bab says at least he put forth the effort. At least Aaron J put forth the effort. And she says
Mm.
some men won't even do that much. Good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
and she's right. She's right. Some men won't put in that much effort. But again, I don't fault him for trying to make it a romantic experience. But like I said, it wasn't received well. And usually, if even when a guy does plan to do something or try and you know make you smile or give you a momentous occasion, if it isn't received in the way that he kind of anticipated that it would be, then that could also affect the type of dates he plans or whether he does, even if he doesn't plan going forward, because it wasn't received well. So it depends. Depends how resilient he is. But that date wasn't hitting for her, despite what anybody might say about how romantic it was. Yes, it was, but it wasn't what she was feeling, and that's the most important thing because she was on the date.
Mm. As far as the attire, do you think on a first date that you know, in general, that people should be mindful whether they're dressing down or are they trying to dress to impress, and that goes for the woman as well as the man. What do you think? What
Yeah,
what would
I
be
think
preference?
first impressions last. You can only make a first impression once, uh, and we learned that here. But it's getting it right. That's the hard thing because you can come overdressed to the occasion, and they might look at you a certain way and feel like you're high maintenance or you did too much. If you come in too casual
Mhm.
or in hoochie daddy shorts or something, then people might take another view of you like you're not taking it seriously. Why didn't you dress up for the occasion, right? So the attire has to match the occasion. I don't think she did too much uh, in terms of her attire. So, but that's my personal opinion.
Oh, wait a minute. Wow. I love it. I love our chat family. They have all the inside scoop. Baby Doll lets me know. Uh, Fun fact, Joanna is actually a sexologist and she has a podcast all about sex. Maybe she needed to have the yoga date. I didn't
And
know
that's
that.
what exactly. That's why I was saying different strokes for different folks.
Okay,
Because
okay. So she should have had the yoga date, but
right, because her
mm,
date was too timid for her liking, right?
oh, I
And
see
yoga
you.
date lady,
Right.
she wasn't like most people aren't expecting that level of blatant maneuvering by the guy, getting all handsy and touchy feely like that, pinning her down in the
Oh,
center of her back, talking about he's working on her arch. Like for some ladies who are conservative, that's too much. So it's about reading the room with the person you're with. Um,
very true. You're right. Because what works for one lady for a guy
might
may
not
not work
work for
for the.
another.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree with you on that. I didn't know that, but Elsie is giving me some inside scoop too. So thank you for that,
Imagine,
Elsie.
imagine if she all
Uh,
she does is talk about sex all day. Right? Then you come to her with some lame picnic where you're sitting down there and struggling to open the bottle of wine and da 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 da. Da. Like she's gonna be like,
mm,
nah, man, this is not stimulating. You know, she's probably a very red-blooded lady, so maybe something more physical where you can work up a sweat, some physical exertion,
Mm.
maybe some touch, some sensual activity, even if it's not sex itself, but just the sensual activity or something
I
where
would.
there's more interaction physically. That probably
Well,
would have been more what she
well,
would have liked.
well, here's the thing, JR. Two things about it. Okay, so I agree with you. Now that you brought up a point, and our chat family, Baby Dolls, brought up an excellent point. So, two things about it, though, now going forward. She has a mouth. She is empowered to say to him, pull him to the side, whether it's on camera or not. She can say to him, uh, maybe the next date, I'll plan it. Or if you're going to plan the next date, I'd like for it to be something XYZ more physical, like you're saying. The second thing about it, if he plans a date and it's more physical, it'll be interesting to see whether or not he's comfortable being more
Seriousness.
physical with her. Because I don't see her being his preference. Again,
I
that's just
knew
me.
you were going to say that. I
That's right.
knew.
That's right. I'm standing by it. What I know what I know what I know. Okay, I know what I know what
Yo,
I
I
know.
knew you were going to
And
say
and,
that.
and, and if he gonna have a physical date, he gonna do yoga, and he gonna be behind her. He probably gonna have a look on his face of total and sheer disgust. Like,
Nah, man.
this ain't what
He'll be
I
the one.
normally like.
Nah, I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say he'll be the one in downward dog, and she'll be the one trying to push him up, push his back down, and
See,
work
now
on
I
his
didn't even
arch.
go that far. I
Yeah,
didn't even
that's what
go
you're
that
trying to say,
far.
though.
I know. That's what you said. Don't be putting words into my mouth. You started to remind me of that person with the A name. Don't be reminding me of Alex. Don't be triggering me like that. Oh my God.
You're talking about he's gonna need to work on his arches. That's liberty,
I
baby.
did not say that.
Okay.
I just said that she may not be his preference. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. But moving
Oh,
forward.
okay. So talking of preferences, I have a question for you. What did you
Okay.
make of what did you make of Diamond's man talking about how he likes BBWs, stating his preference? Do you think that was out of place or do you think that was relevant?
Oh, they're saying that he liked the BBW ladies.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was perfect. I mean, well, we always say all the time from Ready to Love to Married at First Sight, if women can have preferences, why wouldn't of course men have preferences, right?
Hmm.
I don't
Of
have a
course.
problem with him stating that. I don't have a problem at all. Especially, and here's the thing though, especially when it's the woman that we're seeing him with, she falls
Hmm.
into that category of a BBW. Now let's switch it around. If his woman had been Shay size, right?
Hmm.
Shay, the little tiny one that's been dating the same guy for 12 years over the virtually,
Yeah.
little tiny, like she's about as big as my little baby finger. I don't even think she's a size zero. She's like so small. So now, if he had said that and that was who he was dating, then I would see a little bit of a problem with that. I would see that as not that he can't have his own preference, but why are you stating that when you clearly picked someone who was very small?
Mm. Interesting. So would you prefer, right, if like obviously preferences are a thing on both sides. Some
Yes,
ladies,
absolutely.
some ladies were specifying, look, I hope he's 6'3" because he said he is, type stuff. So they have a preference of a taller man, right?
Right.
If he was shorter, then he wouldn't have met that particular preference. When a guy states their preferences is kind of seen differently. So I understand that. But
Hmm.
I really don't think it needed to be said, to be honest. And that's me speaking from a guy's perspective.
Hmm.
Like, you got the lady you want. Like, you'll be waiting like ages to see Joel. So, um, to state that, I don't think there was a need. I'm not saying it's a criticism against him. I'm just saying I just didn't understand why he needed to say that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, I guess. But I'm thinking since it's a TV show, I'm thinking that they probably wanted him to say that. And I think the other part of it is, again, this may be culturally over in the States. I don't know if it's a thing over there in the UK. I don't know anywhere else in the world, what, like I've heard, I will say this, I have heard that in certain countries in Africa, that, like, for example, Nigeria specifically, that it's considered to be wealthy for a woman to be heavy set, to be a BBW, and that's
Right,
considered admirable. But here in the
right.
States, generally speaking, and I'm just generalizing things, right? So I can't speak for
Hmm.
everybody. I'm not saying this is for myself or whatever, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, it's kind
Hmm.
of assumed that most men prefer their women to be um, smaller and not be a BBW. So maybe, so I'm saying that to say maybe that's why he stated that in the first place.
Right. Well, this is the thing. It is a cultural thing in the Caribbean, like Jamaica in
Hmm.
particular. But yeah, in the Caribbean,
Hmm.
definitely across Africa, um, it is very much attractive to date more heavy set women.
Mm.
Um, it's a it's an attractive quality to a lot of guys.
Okay.
Uh, but I think the beauty standards are different in America
Let me get back to the
because
comments. Go ahead.
you have more of a you have more of a model um, of beauty standards that is more close to European. Um, so you have like magazines and stuff where ladies grace the cover. You have people who kind of bikini models and things like that. So the models that are promoted more are the ones that are slim and slender, whereas the more um, larger framed women don't really get that much exposure like that in the mainstream, and that's what sets the beauty standard up until recently.
Mm. Okay, that's a good point. Babs has a comment. She says that if I was a proud BBW, I would want my man to verbally tell me how much he likes my curves. I see nothing wrong with verbally telling someone as much how much you admire your partner's physique. Many of us like that. I agree. Absolutely. Here's a thing.
Can I just say something to that?
Yes, go ahead. And I got something to say too, but go ahead. You say it first.
Well, I'm gonna just say that I'm not sure if that's particularly true because I definitely expressed how much I enjoyed um, my lady's physique and everything about her, looks wise, physical wise, flawless in my opinion. But it was shut down for over sexualizing or objectifying in a way. So I had to go away from doing that because despite me
Mm,
being completely enamored by her, uh, I had
okay.
to also balance it by not focusing too much on that. Even
Okay.
though I'm a guy and we tend to rely on our visuals and stimulation from what we see.
Okay.
Um, once you get told to stop over sexualizing and, you know, focus on my personality or all you like is my looks and kind of, all right, then let's focus on the other aspect.
So it's kind
So
of a damned if you do, damned if you don't, huh?
yeah, as usual.
Well, I was just gonna say. So my comment to Bab's comment was, I think men and women, but particularly women, but specifically women, and I think it's because of our conditioning that we've always heard. Uh, a phrase that irritates me quite a bit for my own personal reasons is when people say, "But men are very visual. Men are very visual." I call BS on that. I say that anybody that has eyes that God has blessed with the gift of sight, we're all visual, male,
Right.
female,
I
straight,
agree.
gay, alphabet community. We're all visual. If we're blessed with the gift of sight, we're all visual. Guess what? You use visual every day in everything you do. Getting up, getting dressed, brushing your teeth,
Yeah.
uh, and picking out a mate. Women do care about how men look, and
Oh,
you're
of course.
finding in modern dating that more women care about men's appearance, and they're very vocal about it. So that's, but anyway, but back to what I was going to say, that what Babs was saying. So what I'm thinking is, just for me, I think that
Hmm.
women like to hear that they're physically, that their man is attracted to them, that their man finds them physically appealing, that they look beautiful, that if they
Hmm.
get their hair cut or new hairstyle, they want their man to notice the new hairstyle, to make a comment, a
Mm.
favorable comment. But
Hmm.
to Bab's point, I think, or at least I'm sorry, what you were saying about the characteristics, the personality traits, you want all of that. You want all
Hmm.
of that. You want him to also notice that you have good character, that you are an honest person, that you are kind. So I guess
I
I'm
get it.
saying we want, I want to feel like I am special to my man in so many ways
Mm.
that not everyone is. Like he may know other kind women. He may know other beautiful women, but me, I am special to him in so many different ways that no one else. I to your point, which is something you said earlier, that I'm not expendable, that I
And
am not expendable. That's what makes me feel special and secure and safe with my man.
exactly. And that, and this is the real crazy part, right? Is that um, as much as I personally was enamored, or found my girlfriend to be exceptionally stunning, and yes, there are attractive women everywhere, but I found her to be like what I would call my kind of fun. She had everything that I want, but um, I wasn't for her, because I would often hear her making remarks about my looks, my physical, right? Now, it's a preference thing though, because, like, that's just her opinion. But her opinion meant like more to me than other people did, because of how much I liked her, if you get my meaning. So,
Hmm.
as much as I would say how much I liked her, for example, like, let's get into an argument or something, then it's about how my looks aren't X, Y, and Z, or I'm short and I'm this and I'm that and I'm this. Everything personal was being thrown at me, right? So it's a double standard. We all know that men are physical people, and we're visual as well. It's just that there's a myth that it means more to men than it does to women. Women doll themselves up for their own self esteem, but the byproduct of that is that they'll get attention for that as well. Most men aren't judged predominantly on how they look. Sometimes, yes, but for the most part, you have a large section who will forsake the looks in exchange for what is being provided, or what resources they can give, or whatever. Not saying that's all women, but that does happen too.
These people are cutting up in the chat. Dee Dee, you're a mess. El Cid, you're a mess too. Oh my goodness. I love it.
Yeah,
I
are
love
we
it.
more tamed over here? Oh, we're not as feral, that's for sure. So yeah, we're
I'm
more
looking.
tamed, but you do have outliers, and you do have what I found, right? Because I have many male friends, right? And growing up, what I realized is that the guys who weren't physically attractive by most women's standards are the guys that are the most confident. because they're
Mm,
used to being rejected. So it's nothing
yeah,
for them to
yeah,
hear
that's
no,
true. That is true.
right? So,
Mm.
but what they do is they overcompensate by not being physically attractive with going and making a lot of money, legally or illegally, right? And then that gives them status. So now they're attractive because of their status, their reputation, and what they can provide, the protection or the security or
And
access to venues and
okay,
things
but
like that.
listen, but JR, I think you got a point, but also not only just the money part of it with the men that were early on, they were rejected by in high school, they were rejected by their high school the girls in high school, maybe girls in college. But I think the other thing is I have to add something. I think we kind of disagree on this when we differ. I think that men and women, but particularly men, I think what they also do is they develop parts of their character, their personality, their sense of humor, being kind to women,
Mm-hmm.
their game skills, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
what they say to women.
Yep.
I would say, like, I would give you an example. I would imagine from like just covering from this last season of Ready to Love, I would imagine somebody like Alonzo growing up in middle school, high school, and maybe college, he struggled getting women, right? Because we know we can observe his lisp, we can observe his physicality. And I'm imagining, and if he's as slim as he is now, just imagine how slim he was in high school. A lot of girls, at least in my high school growing up, if a guy was real skinny like that, gangly, awkward, they were teased. Now, fast forward, like one of the guys that I thought was really like too skinny. Now he's a grown man. He's perfect in size because he's got that high metabolism. He's physical. He works out. He looks great now, fast forward, right?
Mm.
So I would say that.
Yeah.
But let's get to this question. Why Valentine wants to know, are there any cultural differences among men? So you did answer that. And I would say for this particular specific cast, the only one that I'm aware of, and I could be wrong, the only one that I know of that is not American or has American cultural background would be
Chris.
Chris. Chris is Haitian, as is the lady that he's dating, Sandia. That was the one that was at the table telling all the guys how big of a player he is. So, right.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go ahead. We got a lot of banners. We're going to try to get through the rest of these real quick. What about the date with Greg and Millie? Greg and Millie, they live in the same city. Greg is the one with the big curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
Millie's very beautiful, slender. They're both very slender.
Yep.
I think physically they look very good together.
Mm-hmm.
He took her on this date also outside. Everything seems to be outside, basically.
It's warm
Uh,
weather.
yeah, pardon me.
It's warm weather out there. So
Yeah, warm weather. Correct. Right. Good point. Warm weather. Um, but these two have been in the same city. It's been warm weather in the same city that
man,
they're
crazy.
like 30 minutes apart, and they're 32, so they ain't got they don't have the 18-year, 19-year-old thing going for them. They're in the same city. Uh, they seem to like each other though. She does say that at first he's a little silly, and it kind of reminds me, once again talking about Alonzo, kind of reminded me of when Patrice was saying that Alonzo is just joking, 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 and so comical, but when is he ever serious? But she does say that he gets really serious. He was serious when he needed to be on this date. The two of them actually have very great chemistry. They're affectionate, they're hugging each other, and all of that good stuff. What did you think of their date?
Yeah, it's like she came in with a preconceived notion almost that he wasn't going to be serious, and
Mm,
like
yep.
so it's like using his sense of humor as a against him kind of thing. Yeah, he's too jokey. I want to see if he can get serious now, and he did, right? And he also reaffirmed her and said, "Look, like we can do this, and I'll take the lead, and all the rest of it." That also put her at ease. But the thing with them is, listen, you live in the same city, apparently just over the hill away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and you know, in a weird way, I can understand what he was saying. He said the reason why it wasn't urgent for him to meet her was because he was afraid of messing up a good thing or stuffing it up. That to me seems like he's very nervous, very anxious in a way, and wants to keep the good thing going, keep the chemistry going, keep the the routine they have going where they laugh, joke, and they chill out after work or whatever they do, right? And I think he's worried that if they meet in person and they start to date physically, then it will change the dynamic, lead to more of a dysfunctional situation occurring. But the chemistry was good. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see anything wrong with outdoor dates if the weather's nice.
No, no, not at all. I was just
You
pointing
know,
it out.
the little pedal boat or whatever it was a nice intimate setting. Um, so yeah, the chemistry was all good. Like it was all gravy.
Yeah, yeah, that pedal boat. The pedal boat was cute. I did something like that many moons ago in Chicago and I loved it. That was really cute. I like that. Very
Mhm.
creative and unique. It's
Riverside, the dates on the river,
not. Mm-hmm.
I think it hits differently. On a nice sunny day, calm breeze, calm sea, um, and yeah, like it's different. It's different. I did that for the first time last year. It was all good.
Oh, okay, okay.
It wasn't a
Else,
pedal boat though, but it was a boat cruise
kind of like
type
a
thing.
kayaker, more like a kayak type of
Nah,
situation.
it's more like a tour boat where we
Mm,
got to like
okay.
tour around the River Thames.
They having a whole different conversation. I'm not gonna. The ladies are having a whole different conversation in the chat. Go ahead, girls. Go ahead. Okay. Let's see. All right. There's this. Yeah. Same city. Right. Right. Uh, yeah. We call him. Is that what we're calling him now? Lenny Kravitz. Yeah. Lenny Kravitz's little brother. Oh yeah. Okay. Tight pants, the hoochie daddy shorts, and all that. That's Greg. Yeah. Okay. Not Josh. I was calling him Josh earlier. Thank you for that. I
Captain
needed that.
Hoochie Daddy.
We gonna get these names together. Uh, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. El Cid said she wants to know, Jr. What do you think? Was the forehead kiss that he gave? Is that a thing? What do you think, Jr.?
Man, forehead kiss. Okay, so I'll explain what the forehead kiss is about, right? The
Okay, tell us what
forehead
it's
kiss
about, baby doll.
is it's like a way of reassuring, providing comfort, but without sexual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a kiss on the lips, it's passionate or it's sexual or there's something behind it. Kiss on the forehead is not in any way something that I'm going to get a thrill from, right? I'm doing it to give you the comfort to show that I care about you. I cherish you. I'm here to protect you. I've got you.
Yes, yes. Go in, Jr. Tell them about it. Tell them
Yeah.
about it. Because my forehead kiss that I still think about to this day, like a whole sun later. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A forehead kiss will get you a whole lot. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm. And if a guy's gonna do that subconsciously, right? If a guy just instinctively does that, then that says a lot about how he feels about you.
Right. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Once again, making your woman feel like she is uh, the only woman for you. Like that. That's a whole vibe. That is a whole vibe. Yes, indeed.
Mm.
That forehead kiss is powerful. And Baby Doll adds that in the movie The Best Man. I don't know if you've seen that or not yet, Jr. If you haven't, check it out. The
I
Best
have.
Man. Oh, okay. She says that in that movie, the forehead kiss got him the draws.
Mhm. Well, that's because her erogenous zones were in the center of her dome piece.
Okay, if you say so, Jr. Okay, if you say so.
Or how else can like if someone kisses you on the forehead, how does that equate to going straight to bed for that?
Say again. Say again.
How is that come to bed vibes if someone kisses you on the forehead? It must
Because
be a
like,
turn on or something, right?
well, no, it's all of that. I think it's all of that. It's how it's done, especially if the man smells good. He's right in front of you. His masculine scent is wafting into your nose. You're like, ooh, he
The
smells so good.
pheromones.
he has his pheromones. There you go. There you go. His pheromones. But what you said earlier, it's because he's endeared by you. He's thinking of you on a high level. It's not like
Mhm.
he's not even just trying to work you into getting the drawers, but he's letting you
Mhm.
know that you are so special that you gonna give him the drawers anyway. You gonna give it to him anyway. That's that part of what I was saying about when a man actually makes a woman feel so special. Like you can't help but fall for this guy. You can't help it. What can you do? You're powerless. You're a mere
Mhm.
mortal in front of this man.
Mhm.
Wait a
Mhm.
minute, El Cid, what you talking about? El Cid disagrees. Yes, it is El Cid. You ain't been. Somebody didn't do that right. Somebody didn't do that right for you. Your husband didn't give you that forehead kiss just the right way.
Yeah,
Okay, wait a minute. Now that's a turn off. Okay, El Cid is saying that the uncles and the male family members do the forehead kiss.
yeah, but we're not talking about relatives.
We're not talking about that. I don't know about the yeah yeah we ain't talking about that right now. We talking about something wholly totally
We're
different.
talking about a
LC.
guy that just met you for the first time and been talking to you for a while, like, and showing you that he's there for you, he's got you, and it's not just sex that he's thinking about.
And LC, tell your uncles and cousins, male cousins, tell them to stop kissing you on your forehead so that you can experience what the rest of us women are experiencing. Tell them to stop. You are too mature for that now. That was okay when you were 16. Let it go. Let it go, LC. Tell them to let it go. Uh, but so we like basically we're saying we like Greg and Millie, right? We like Millie and Greg. We like their
Yeah,
date.
they
We like
seem okay. They seem pretty cool. Like I
they
said, the only thing is they lived over the hill. Like they lived a couple of miles away from each other, and they still haven't done it. But like I said, I can see why. Don't wanna mess up a good thing. I can kind of
they
see that.
they got a friendship, yeah. So I think, and which for me, I think the other thing of this is whatever reasons there were, I think I like the fact that they have built a foundation that's not just about sex, right? And
Right.
now that
And
they're together physically, they physically seem to have a certain chemistry. So let's see what happens with that. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that.
right. And this is the thing. Like I said earlier, like when if you're dating someone online, that's pretty much what you're doing. You're building a foundation of getting to know each other without there being a physical sexual relationship.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. And I think there was one, I'm trying to say there's one other couple because I did these kind of out of order than what I had them. So I skipped around and I didn't tick them off. But hold on a second. Let me see if there's one other date that we need to be talking about. I think, was it Sienna? No. Okay.
You talking about what about the engagement ring thing where uh she who was it? I think that was Diamond again. Was it
That was
where she said she was
Diamond.
upset with her guy for posting an engagement ring on Facebook that he was planning to get engaged with someone or something?
Yeah, that was Diamond. You're right. That was Diamond. So they've got that issue going. Okay, I think I'm trying to think. Is this Diamond? Oh, you're right. Their date. Let's get to their date. Let me see if I got the ticker for them.
Mhm.
I don't think I have the ticker, but uh, I've just got Queen Diamond as leader. I don't have that. So, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about Diamond's date. What did you guys think of their date? What did you guys think of their date?
Well, I'll tell you what I think. Well, I thought that he came dressed to the nines. Some
Mm-hmm.
people don't like the whole hat and blazer thing, like we saw last week with old boy Alonso. Some people don't like the the hat and blazer, but he came dressed smart.
Yeah.
He looks like he's really into her,
Mm-hmm.
and she obviously was looking forward to meeting him, but she also had one eye on um, trying to get closure on an incident that took place 2 years before. right?
Right, right.
Um, Basically, uh, he said he lost faith in their relationship, and I don't know, looked like he was going to get engaged to someone else and posted a ring, and then she wanted to kind of settle that particular issue. He seemed very apologetic, and he seemed, I don't know what his rationale was, obviously, but he seemed to be over that previous situation and very much into her now. Um, it's also interesting. She said she doesn't love him. She said, you know, she's not going to say the L word to him. She doesn't love him, even though it was said in a, I don't know, a semi-joking way. I think she was very serious about that. But the date was a very cool date. It seems like he's very into her. He's into him to a degree. So, um, yeah, all good things.
Yeah, they did. They seem to have it together. I think that they're and being the more mature couple too. I think
Hmm.
they have experience on their side a little bit, right? Um, trying to figure out who was and why I don't have them in my notes here.
Yeah, because I think they're both in their 40s, right? She's 40
Yeah.
around me.
Well, she's
Yeah,
in her 40s and I think he's actually 51. He doesn't look it, but the
okay.
they're saying that he's 51.
Hmm. Okay.
Oh, that's who it is. Okay. Brandon. Okay, hold on. I think I have them. Last one before we get to the final scene. We've got hold on if I can find it in here. Yeah. Okay, that was Sienna and Brandon's date, right? That was the cooking date that El Cid is reminding me of. Thank you, El Cid. Gosh, I need you up here. Come on now, girl. Come on, help a sister out. Jr. He does a good job too. Sienna and Brendan. Now they're also a fairly mature couple. She's in her early 40s, and I think he's about 35 or 36.
Mhm.
Um, the cooking date I thought was spectacular. I would love for a man to plan a cooking date with me. I would love that. I mean, I think it's so intimate. I mean, of course, there's a chef showing them what to do and how to do it, and they're in the chef's kitchen. But I like the idea of couples cooking together for myself.
Hmm.
What did
Hmm.
you think about? What did you think about this date? I thought they had great chemistry too.
Yeah, like cooking date is a great date. Why? Because you get to create something together, and you also
Yes,
have to trust each other, and you can also get quite playful. You know, you can spoon feed each other and all types of different things, right? So, but yeah, in this particular date, um, yeah, like it's gonna be a hit. The way to some people's heart is through their stomachs, right?
right.
So if you can cook
True.
up something marvelous together and enjoy each other's company while doing so, then it's a bonding experience in a way. You can share
Absolutely.
recipes and create dishes and take turns, and yeah, you can have lots of fun and creative times with that. Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this date. I like the maturity level of this couple. Again, another couple that I think that looking real good on this first date. Of course, we got some more weeks to go, but they're looking real good. Like they're giving grown couple energy, and they're giving that. Yeah, even though it took us a while to get together in person, we actually have over the phone virtually or over FaceTime, we have actually built a foundation of friendship and of really
Hmm.
genuinely having things in common. So I like that. Now we could not get out of here tonight without talking about this final scene that we saw. Um,
Hmm.
and that is the couple that we had talked about earlier that was giving us some toxicity there, and that is Dominique and Lexus in the kitchen. That whole hip hop, love and hip hop scene that we saw.
Right.
Um, you want to go first and give your take on it? Like, what do you think? Got it, as my daughter would say, crackulating, or started? What was it that got it started, and why was it that neither one of them seemed to be able to de-escalate or just move apart from each other?
Ooh, okay. Well, I think they got it calculating because unfortunately, all right. The comment made about the Hoochie Daddy shorts. I
Mm-hmm.
I think it was started off as something that was just a joke and maybe just said, said in jest, just to poke fun or to highlight what he was wearing. But she kept repeating it and saying it. And every time the camera panned to uh what's this guy's name? Dominique. Is that Dominique?
Dominique, yep. Dominique
Yeah.
with all the
Every
tats
time the
all the
camera
way up,
panned to him, you
all up
can
his
see him
back.
getting more and more agitated
Yeah, yeah.
the more she was saying it, right? So I don't think she was fully aware of how his feelings were being hurt at that time. I'm not justifying him at all, but what I'm just highlighting at the moment is what got it started.
Right.
Now, then, when he did express that he wasn't feeling that, like he didn't appreciate her commenting about this guy's shorts, because, like I said, it's basically looking at this guy's crotch and saying, "Well, look, your shorts are too tight, your shorts are too high,"
Mm-hmm.
right?
And she's checking
So
out that other guy's equipment, it seems like.
exactly, you're checking
Yeah.
out another guy, right? You're checking out his midriff, his lunchbox, tackle, whatever you want to call it. You're checking him out.
Mm-hmm. Right. And
Now,
letting him
not many
letting him
guys
know.
are going to
And
be
letting
comfortable with their
Mhm.
woman
Right.
checking out another guy TV, even though we know you do it, but you don't
Right.
say it.
But she's rubbing it in. She's rubbing it in because she's seeing
Exactly.
it.
That's
She's
what I'm
rubbing it in.
saying. It went from just saying it once. Now you're kind of stirring the pot. You're kind of rubbing it in. And if he's insecure, jealous, has an anger problem or temper, as she said, he's got a bad temper or whatever, then you're risking him flying off the handle about this. So I don't think she was aware of what she was actually saying or doing at the time, right? I think she was just trying to poke fun at the guy and keep on making the joke out of
Yeah,
about
I think she was too. I don't think she really was so attracted to
yeah,
him as she was really, like
right.
you said, trying to make
Yeah, I
fun of
don't
him.
think
He
she had a
wasn't cool
reason to
either.
say it. I don't think
Yeah.
she had a reason to try and disrespect her man or cuss him out or anything like that at that point. She was just trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't find it funny. So
Nope.
when he was started saying, well, look, I find it disrespectful what you did, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
If the roles were reversed and I said, wow, she's got a fat butt, that girl's got a nice butt, she's looking good, look at her
Ooh.
shape, look at this, that, the other. Then if the roles were reversed, I'm sure you would be pissed that I'm admiring this girl's physique or complimenting her body or even commenting on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So at first, she seemed to be okay. Yeah, I get the analogy. Yeah, I would be pissed or whatever. But then it escalates, and now you see him putting his arm around her as if
Mm.
to kind
Almost a
not bear hug
chokehold.
her, but he's kind of trying to manhandle her at the time
Definitely
while he's
manhandling
talking
her.
to her. I didn't.
Mm.
I found that to be way too much. That's
Yeah.
automatic rejection from the show for him for doing that, right? Because putting your hands on someone is never the answer, right?
No, never.
But he looked like he was trying to restrict. She wasn't even putting up a fight or anything. It looked like he was literally trying to just manhandle her,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's out of bounds. That's out of order. So I can definitely see why she then lost her temper and started hitting back and trying to slap and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this to me, being the first day that you spent together after so long of meeting with each other, this is a disaster for their relationship. I don't have much hope in them having a relationship that is going to be free of those type of behaviors. It can happen at any time. If this guy's got a bad temper, he can go from 0 to 100. And I think if provoked, she can probably go from 0 to 100 as well. It's too combustible.
They're
And
they're very
the last thing is that you want to be doing is putting your hands on each other. Whether it's her or him, you don't put your hands on nobody. You have to respectfully disagree and leave. If the violation is egregious, then call it quits. It's
right,
just day one that you've met each other, and this is
right.
what's happening. So it doesn't bode well.
Does it matter? I'm just thinking about it. Does it matter that while Alexis was doing all this talking and commenting about the hoochie daddy shorts, that she was doing it, like literally, like her man was sitting down in front of her, and she was unable to see his face, to see his facial reactions. But then he's talking to her later about it, and he's telling her, and she doesn't seem to be doing quite well with it. Um, she doesn't seem to be like taking the input from him.
No, she, like I said, I think she just was saw it as a joke. Maybe that's her sense of humor, right?
Mm.
So she wasn't self-aware enough to know that he didn't find it funny. It's like that's the type of joke I think she would make with her girlfriends. If he was in the kitchen and there were no other guys around, it was just a few other ladies there. That's the type of stuff she would have said. Like, look at him in his hoochie daddy shorts. Yeah, where you going with that? Type of thing. But the fact is, her man was there. He's sitting on her man's lap, pretty much.
Hmm.
And if he's got a bad temper, like you said that he has, then that type of stuff is not going to sit well with him. So knowing her man and knowing the situation wasn't a good thing to do. And like I also touched on earlier, you now don't know if you're creating beef with that guy's girlfriend now, because you're commenting about her man and what he's wearing. What business is it of yours?
Yeah,
Surely
yeah,
that's for his girl to be concerned about wearing hoochie daddy shorts. If his girl said to him, "Listen, I don't want you wearing hoochie daddy shorts because the other girls are going to comment," then that's between them two. But you being an external party with your own man who you've just met, you shouldn't be commenting on another guy and what he's wearing like that.
what did you
That's a
think?
recipe for disaster.
JR, let me ask you this specifically. What did you think about when Alexis pushed him in the course of they're having this discussion, and she seems to almost be taunting him, saying that I'm not really caring about, what am I supposed to cry because you feel this way? He's trying to tell her that he did not appreciate
Yeah, she wasn't
her
listening. She's
making a
not
big.
receptive.
She wasn't receptive at all,
No,
but
she don't
then
care.
she doesn't care. But then she goes in
No.
and physically she pushes him.
Yes, she did.
Now she's a lot smaller than him, and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
guesstimate that she is not nearly as strong as him, but she
Mm-hmm.
does push him. So she does, in effect, put her hands on him. What do you
Yeah.
think about that? What do you guys in the chat? What do you think about that? Is that okay for a woman
No.
to push the guy, even though she's much smaller than him, even
Yeah.
though he didn't physically actually budge from the spot that he was on? It seemed to
No.
kind of almost cause an escalation in the physicality of what was happening in that moment. What do you guys think? Let me get back over here to the chat side of things and see what people are saying.
Yeah.
Let's.
Listen. It's never a good idea for any lady to step in the ring with a guy, right? So you never attack a guy who, especially like he's taller than you, bigger than you. Like you said, what you did probably didn't even make him move. But it's the fact that you put your hands on him and felt comfortable doing so. That's what's going to lead to problems. Because if he retaliates, then it's cut. Because he is bigger in stature. So the best thing to do is to keep your hands to yourself. Right? That goes for him as well. Like she's smaller than you, bro. So you don't need to be smothering her and bear hugging her and choking her and all this other crap. Like
Right.
it doesn't bode well for them because they seem to both have this mindset that when you get mad, you can put hands on someone. And it doesn't
Right.
work. Not in this day and age, you know.
Babs
Ever.
is
It never has before, but even
mm,
now, you cannot do it.
right. Babs is saying this grown man is actually bucking at her in an aggressive, threatening way. The producer should have kicked him off immediately. I absolutely agree with you. And before it got to that point, escalated to that point,
Right.
El Cid had a very good point. Like she could have calmed things down before it got to this high point, and before he had to even tell her about herself. Earlier in the afternoon, if she had simply said when she was talking about the hoochie daddy shorts on the other guy, if she had said, "Hey, babe, you know what? I'm gonna have to get you some of those. I'm gonna have to get because I know
Yeah,
you would rock those. You would really rock those with your physique."
exactly.
I agree, El Cid. The only reason why to be bringing up what another man is wearing to your man is because you getting ready to go shopping and you want to know what size he wears so you can get him a pair of those hoochie daddy shorts too. Yep, I
Yeah.
agree.
Not
I
not checking him out and how tight those shorts are and stuff, right?
right
Because that's
and
gonna make the person feel inadequate.
right,
But again,
babe.
like we can kick him off the show because of how what he did, right? I think that's going to be universally accepted that he should be off the show. What about her though? When she pushed him, does that warrant her being kicked off the show, or do you give her grace and say, okay, well, she just pushed him?
No, I don't give her any grace. I absolutely think that she should be off the show because like I
Mm,
try to be this kind of way with the physical thing and escalation and de-escalation of any type of whether it's a verbal argument, whether it's physical. I try to look at things like this way. So, I'm this person. Like I'm never gonna lay hands on another man unless that's the only option I
yeah.
have to protect myself or my family, right? Like if we're in a
Hmm.
life or death or threatening what appears to be a very threatening situation, then and I only got my hands because otherwise your girl Aubrey gonna go for the pow pow because I don't fight men. I absolutely do not fight men, but I will pow pow you if necessary to keep you, save my life, my children's life, someone I love's life. Okay.
Mm,
But what I'm not going to do, you putting your hands on me, and we're in that situation where there are cameras and there are people around. So now I know I got other options because, like you said, there's cameramen, production should be somewhere there, right?
hmm.
I'm going to go to them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like, yeah, I'm a snitch. I'm gonna call law enforcement. I'm gonna call producers. I'm gonna say, yeah, look, just look at the tape. He just put his hands on me. He was
yeah,
bucking at me. He had me in a chokehold. Blah blah blah.
right.
Blase explain. Those are gonna be my first options. I'm always looking for my option
Hmm.
because
No,
if
I
I
agree with
comes
that.
I gotta lay hands on a man, there's not gonna be no hands laid on. It's gonna be that Smith and Wesson, and you're gonna be gone. And I do know how to
Okay,
use that sucker. Okay. I'm sorry,
okay.
I got carried away. I
It's all
had a
right. I'm not
flashback.
coming to
I
Detroit.
had a flash. I had
Never
a
come, never,
flashback.
never come to Detroit, Aubrey. So it's all right.
Yeah,
Um,
we put the pow pow in the D. But I'm serious because I'm saying that because here's the thing: I've never had to do that. But what I'm telling you is that even though my father, I was a daddy's girl growing up. My dad taught me a little bit about boxing. I know how to pow pow with precision. I have a marksman,
really.
certificate. But this is the
Mhm.
thing: I'm never gonna try to fight a man because I understand without being emotional that I'm not stronger than a man. I totally get that. I'm not going to even be able to physically match his strength, right? So
Mm,
if it gets to that, that's why I got to be safe around my guy. I got to be safe around
right.
my guy. I can't be with no guy that grew up in the hood. He grew up without his dad. He liked to put hands on women. He think that stuff is cute. I can't be with that guy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I can't be with that
So
guy.
I have a question though.
Yes, sir.
Say for example, they boot him off the show for doing that, for being physically aggressive to her, right? Would you
Mm.
feel comfortable her being on the show? Because there wouldn't be a reason because her man's not there. But would
No,
you be comfortable with her staying on the show knowing that she's checking out another lady's guy?
no. She absolutely, like you said, she would
It would just
absolutely.
cause problems. Then they'll be fighting each other. The two women will be fighting.
And here's the other thing that I'm going to say. I'm going to be just as rough with her as I am with him. She is toxic. Like I said
Hmm.
earlier in this episode, this live. Like I said, she is that gal that my daddy warned me about. She is that woman that likes a man that she taunted that man into getting aggressive with her. Let me say that because I don't say that anything that she did or anything that she said should have caused him, a grown man, that would have any
Nah, he
kind of
needs to
ill
show more
will.
self control and not
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah, right,
anything
right, right.
like that.
I'm not giving him a pass, but what I'm saying is
Yeah.
from what I've seen of her and what I know of human behavior, she is that chick, probably grew up in a household where her mama was getting her behind kicked by dad or the guys that was in the house running through the house with her mom. So this is what she's used to. She's hardwired that way. That's
Or
my that's my belief. That's my belief. That's my
or
belief.
Mama was the disciplinarian and used to dish out the whoopings. So, you know,
Hmm.
there are some women who, because they are tough, their daughters grow up seeing it and they grow up hard, tough, ready to put hands on people too,
Ah,
right?
okay. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then El Cid said something. This is the other part of it though. She might find that, like to what my dad was saying, she might find that that's part of her toxicity, that's part of her love language, that's what she likes. She likes it rough, she likes it tough. But what to El Cid's point, what we can clearly see as viewers, at least what I feel like I see, this man doesn't even like her. He doesn't even think she's pretty. He doesn't think she's cute. He's not attracted to her.
Well, he was underwhelmed when he first saw her. He commented about
Definitely
that.
underwell. Definitely
Yeah, he
underwell.
felt like, he kind of was giving the vibe that he felt catfished in a way because the pictures weren't matching the dimensions. He did also say that. And then
Mm,
now, you get to this point where, you know, he's expressed how he felt about a comment about another dude, what that guy was wearing,
mm-hmm.
over and over again, repeatedly. And he
Ah,
took it as jabs being thrown or shade being thrown in some way, or, a way to embarrass him in front of everybody. He
JR,
was
what,
good.
not to interrupt
Yeah.
you, but what do you think about the points that our chat's making? Like one, El Cid says in her bio that Alexis is former military, which may go to what you're saying. She thinks she's a tough gal. She likes being
Mhm.
tough. She's used to playing with the boys. She thinks she's an equal physically.
Mhm.
Baby Doll is saying that maybe now looking at this situation, maybe it's for the best that all the women are in a room together because that way Don won't be. What if she was in a private room and he thought he could just go in there and do whatever? I agree with you, Baby Doll. I
Yeah,
agree
I
with you
definitely see that. The last thing you want is for any type of situation like that to take place. Um, but I don't even think it's safe for all the ladies to be in the room together either, because once
that.
they start disliking each other and they get to fighting, there's nowhere for them to go either.
mm, I would like to. Maybe this is just me. Like you say, I'm a little prim and proper, old school. I would like to think grown women are not about putting their hands on one another, but I could be wrong.
Uh, hey, we just reviewed Made to
Hmm.
Love, where we saw someone threaten to beat up everybody, male or female,
Yeah,
a-
you true.
and
You're right.
actively wanted to do it too.
You're right. And she was high enough. She was
And
under the
yeah,
influence enough to actually
well,
do it.
yeah, you could. I mean, some abusers do blame it on the alcohol when they lose their temper, but
I think that was. I won't give it all the blame, but I will give it. I think it definitely played a strong part.
it
If you, what
maybe,
do you
but
think?
it's not the first time that we've seen it on these particular type of shows. Every season, there is a pop off moment where it gets catty, it gets, someone could threaten to do something. Someone has to prove that they're bigger and badder than the others and don't test me and all this other stuff. So, yeah, like I said, if we get to a situation where the ladies are all in a room, um, what did you and Dominique have a fight over? Oh, well, uh, I was talking about my guy's hoochie daddy shorts. If his girl takes offense to that, why are you commenting on my man's shorts in the first place? That's gonna get pretty hostile very quickly, you know.
Mm,
If she
LC,
if she ain't afraid to put her hands on a guy, she definitely not gonna be afraid to put her hands on another woman.
that's true. That is true. Um,
You're
But
gonna feel
maybe
like
she
you can
doesn't.
handle
But
yourself
here's a
into a
but
military
here's a
thing.
Jr. Here's the thing. Maybe she don't have nothing to prove to another woman. Maybe her hardwiring is only for men. This is like Alex used to say this, and this is one part where I have to begrudgingly or not so begrudgingly agree with him. Some people, men and women, males and females, are hardwired that they only the time they most enjoy lovemaking is after a good rump physically with the tussle, with the fighting, right?
Yeah, that's to do with
So
arousal though.
yeah. No, so what I'm saying is that's what she like. That's why she likes to work it out with men. She doesn't. We have not seen her be assertive and aggressive with the women thus far. To your point,
No,
we
no,
have.
no. I know that. But what I'm saying is, if she can get like that with a guy, she has no fear of someone that's physically bigger than her and has anger problems, then she's not gonna fear someone more or less her own size.
I agree
That
with
to
you,
me is
but I
just
just
common
don't. I
sense.
just so far, like I said, I
You
just
just
don't.
don't want to see it, but it could
I
potentially
don't
happen.
see it. I haven't seen it. I haven't listen. I haven't observed it yet, so I'm not going to put
No,
that
you
on
haven't.
her.
But
Yeah, we haven't
also,
seen it.
like I
So
said,
we
we
don't.
observed it on last week's review.
Okay, yeah, but now we're mixing shows, and I just want to point that out to you that we're mixing shows.
Yeah, we're mixing shows, but it's what I'm saying is it's a temperament thing. It's not a if someone doesn't have the fear factor to say, you know what, let me not push those buttons or let me not take it there, then their natural tendency is to take it there because they don't have respect for authority and they don't have a fear of repercussion.
Mm-mm. No, they don't. They don't. You're right about that. Well, as we wrap it up, I don't know. What are we gonna say? I'm hoping that this couple, and that I'm saying couple because there's no way we need to leave her behind with her toxic traits and behaviors, with
Mhm.
all the other women's mates. I mean, like you said, that would Jr. Like you said, that would basically leave her looking around and hoochie daddy shorts again on other men.
Yeah,
So I think that, this couple basically, I'm okay with them going bye bye. What about you?
yeah. I mean, we just saw him, so there's no emotional investment or anything.
Yeah,
Both go home.
good.
Like if he goes home, who's gonna like? She's been dating him for the last few months. What are they gonna do? Bring in a curveball for her to start dating now? It doesn't work like that. Like the whole premise of the show is that these couples have been speaking to each other for a variety ranging from months to years. So if he goes home, then she's got no reason to still be there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And last question. I had it. Let me see. I had it in my sites. Someone wrote a I think it might have been El Cid. Was it Y Valentine? Oh, no, it's Y Valentine, actually. I put a star beside a good thing, too, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to find it. Last thing, and then we're going to wrap this up. We're going to be back next week. So guys, you come back and I want to see you next week. Thank you. Go ahead, like the video, help us in the algorithm. Go over and like, share, subscribe, and also go over to JR's channel. Do the same thing. Like, share, subscribe. White Valentine makes a very good point. Let's just get this out the way. Not sure how I feel about owns showing these type of scenes. We don't need, and I think we be in our community, we don't need more desensitization of, help me Lord, with DV. Even lowbrow reality wouldn't show men and women laying hands on one another. What do you think about that? Where is on seem to be headed? Because we're seeing this not only on Ready to Love, but now on this new show.
Well, like I said to start the show, it seems like they're going for controversy, toxicity, and crowd reaction over actually finding genuine connections with some of their shows. So the people that are watching the shows to see genuine connections are disappointed because what we're seeing is a lack of connections and more toxic behaviors. And but at the same time, it gets people talking, and it gets people watching for the next week's episode to see how it's resolved or how it escalates. So that seems to be the way it's going because their success rate is so low.
The what
It,
rate is so
they've
low?
just resigned themselves to the fact that, it's not going to get any better, so you might as well just make content that will make people triggered.
Mm. And then also too, like a lot of marketing, at least in this country. I don't know about again about the UK. You could tell me more about that, JR. A lot of our marketing, whether it's for TV shows, whether it's for sodas, whether it's for chips, snacks, food, restaurants, travel, a lot of marketing is geared toward the millennials. It's geared toward the younger generation. They feel like they have the expendable bucks. Some of them may be, they just like to spend, right? They don't maybe necessarily have two and three kids and are married and not have that disposable income. They can afford to spend on just themselves. So it looks like maybe with OWN, their marketing is definitely going toward the millennials. It's definitely going toward seems to be now making a sharp turn toward the love and hip hop crowd. What do you think?
Yeah, quite possibly. Um, they gotta, I guess, adapt to the times, right? And if the
Mm,
younger generation are the audience, the demographic they're trying to capture, then yeah, they would aim their content at those particular audience. Whereas the more um, old school or old-minded, traditional, audience, they're gonna get phased out eventually. But in their opinion, so where our views will count less and less as the new generation, the younger generation. Um, it's their time now, so they
yeah.
want to attract a new
Okay.
audience. They're gonna aim the content like that.
Yeah, I love I love what White Valentine said though. I don't think there's any need for our community for us to get any more desensitized to it than we already are from watching our um, local national news where we see that black women at a disproportionate rate to other ethnicity and other women in this country are being unalived, are being maimed, are being hurt, are being abused, and victims of DV. I don't think there's any more reason to show that. That's my personal feeling on it. That's my thoughts. Agree or disagree. That those are my opinions and my values at this point. Any last thoughts before we shimmy and shake on out of here?
Mm. I'll just conclude by saying, listen, if it gets to a stage where you or your partner are gonna put hands on each other or anything like that, then it's already gone too far. Like it needs to be over, and hopefully we don't see not only a repeat of what happened, but we see these two in particular severely admonished or removed from the show
Yeah.
because this can
Right.
potentially happen again. It's just day one. You know, like if
Yeah.
you know
Right.
how many potential situations there are gonna be where everybody's in a group and you're going on dates and stuff, and you start to make friendships and you start to make foes and you start to compare notes and you start to nah man, like this is problematic from day one. So yeah, they need to be removed because it's too likely that something similar can happen again.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just and the people in the chat are pretty much agreeing. The ones that aren't hiding in those bushes, come on out, you folks in the bushes. But yeah, the ladies aren't liking it, and Jr. is definitely not a lady. He's a man, and I would probably venture to say a man's man. And for him to say that, I think that strikes a chord in both he and I, in our emotions, that that's not necessary. And if you're in that situation, I'm gonna get the information for the DV hotline here in the States, and maybe if I come across it for the UK, I'll drop it in the description of the video, guys, because I know there are other women out there that have dealt with this or dealing with this, and there is help. You can get out of it. I'm one that did it and survived and thrived and moving forward. Not gonna deal with that no more. So you can do it. You can do it. I just
And
want you to know
yeah,
you can do it.
and you know what? Owen could have also put the disclaimer or something at the end offering that any
Yeah,
credit.
that part. We've said this about I'm not gonna call his name here, initial CK, but we've said this about another production company and another producer that does not do this on his videos. At least he hasn't been. But this production company, and I was looking up to see the name and I forgot. I found it out, but I'll have to bring it next time who the production company is. But you are absolutely right. Between the production company and the network, there should have been at the end of the episode and at the beginning there should have been a trigger warning, right, for those of us that have been through these type of situations. Then I do believe at the end they could have included some phone numbers and some resources for men and women, because it's not just women.
No,
When
definitely
I
not.
was going through my social work training, there was an instance of a guy who was actually a big burly law enforcement officers of all things, who was dealing with this by his wife, was being DV'd by the wife. So it happens to men and women.
Oh
Okay.
yes, of course. It happens to men a lot actually. It's just that they're very silent about it because it's quite embarrassing to
Yeah.
sometimes, like especially over here, the police and law enforcement, they're very reluctant to take it seriously because you're more physically imposing. You're larger in stature. So there's still like an old school mentality of, oh, why would you let your wife hit you? Oh my gosh, just tell her to sit down. You know, you can't do that sometimes. If she's hostile and she's got anger management problems, there's very little he can do.
And
So
to be fair too, I think that because I've seen this as a kid, and I don't know how this works as an adult. I have not for myself personally seen this, but I can imagine, because as a kid I can remember times on the playground in elementary school, right? Elementary school, very young, where back in the day when boys were taught not to fight back, not to hit girls, right? So imagine being on the playground and you're in, like, say, fourth or fifth grade, and a girl comes up and whops you right in your eye, smacks a guy right in his eye for no reason at all. And so if this
mm,
guy has been conditioned never to hit girls, what does he do?
mm,
He freezes.
he
He
starts crying.
freezes. Huh?
He starts crying. That's what he
He
does.
starts crying, right? Exactly. And then the
It,
girls and the guys laugh at him, right? Because what?
yeah,
Boys aren't supposed to cry, right?
yeah, exactly. You cry out of frustration because you can't do nothing. You've just been humiliated. You've just been violated, but you can't hit back. And usually you're going to be seen as weak or a wimp if you go and try and grass her up about it. So yeah, it's a very tough situation for me.
Right. So, with that being said, guys, we're not going to belabor the point. I just want to leave with this because I thought this was one of the best comments of the night. I got to leave with this on the screen so it'll be up there. And, guys, thanks again. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to JR's channel, share the video, and we'll see you back here next week. What do you say, JR?
Hmm. Have a great week. Take care and see you soon for episode 2.
Episode 2. All right. There you have it.